Being involved with a narcissist is a challenging and exhausting experience. And moving on doesn't simply end with physically living and rebuilding a new life. It's not easy to realize and come to terms with what's happened simply because the abuse distorts our sense of reality. It leaves you with feelings of hopelessness, sadness, regret, guilt, stress, as well as questioning your own sanity. The question which will constantly linger in your mind at this period is, when will I ever heal? That's why it's good to know that healing is not a straight path and it will be full of meanders and detours. It's also worth noting that it's not about the destination, but rather the small improvements you make along the way which enhances the quality and meaning to your present life. There is no one size fits all when it comes to healing. You may endure several weeks or months of pain and struggle without knowing if you are making progress or not, simply because the urge to go back to them is so irresistible, more like an addict in recovery craving the taste of that drug. These are common feelings you will experience during your healing journey. And as a reminder, missing your ex does not make you a bad person. It simply means that you are acknowledging your feelings. Undoing the effects of narcissistic abuse in your life takes courage, time, commitment, and effort. And once you start focusing more on your healing journey, you will start seeing small improvements. Of course, some days will be better, some days will be worse. And that's why it's good to know if you're making progress or not. And that's what this video will address. As you watch this, please note that the best reference to use to know if you are making progress or not is to compare your present self with your past self and check if there are any noticeable improvements. The first sign that you are healing is when you find yourself prioritizing your self-care more and more. When we are in a narcissistic relationship, we may find ourselves neglecting our mental, physical, and emotional health. We may even adopt unhealthy coping mechanisms like binge eating or substance abuse simply because they provide a quick pain relief from what we are experiencing, which end up doing more harm than good. When you start prioritizing your own self-care and focusing more time and energy on things and activities which enhance your general well-being, it means that you are healing. These activities may include practicing mindfulness, taking a walk, eating healthy meals, working out, or even just sleeping well. It's more about picking up the healthy habits you'd cast aside. And this signifies that you are on the right track in your healing journey. The second sign is if you find that you are becoming more and more decisive in your life. A narcissistic relationship leaves you second guessing yourself a lot. Simply because it is the kind of relationship where you've been constantly dominated, controlled, and shut down when you try to express yourself, which makes you become too unsure of yourself. You've been also programmed to seek approval or guidance in every small decision you make in life. And all this leads to indecisiveness. You will know you are healing when you now start becoming more and more decisive and looking within when you're making decisions in your everyday life. The voice of your inner critic will also be quieter and quieter as you are now confident in the decisions you are making. The third sign is if you start experiencing less anxiety in your day-to-day life. Anxiety is a common result of being in a narcissistic relationship. The stress you experience triggers constant feelings of worry, nervousness, fear, and panic, as you never know what to expect from their actions. It's also confusing and frustrating to try to come to terms on what caused them to change so abruptly, especially when you're not aware of narcissistic manipulation. It's a place where you constantly walk on eggshells as you're afraid of upsetting them. And all this multiplies the anxiety you have in life. So, if you find that your current levels of anxiety are less than it was before, you will know that you are making progress in your healing journey. And this may manifest through better sleep and waking up feeling good, better concentration throughout the day, less worry and less looking over your shoulder on a daily basis, as well as not being triggered easily. The fourth sign is when you realize that you're not crazy after all. Narc abuse leaves you feeling like you're crazy because you've been constantly called out in various ways, and that everything is always your fault, even what's happening in their lives. They criticize you and undermine you in all kinds of indirect and weird ways. This leaves you constantly questioning and doubting yourself, which literally drives you crazy. You end up living a life where you question your sanity and even think that you are the narcissist yourself. You will know you are healing when you start regaining sanity back in your life and knowing that you're not crazy but just a victim of a manipulative dynamic. You will also understand that the abuse was real and you will see it for what it was. The fifth sign is when you've taken personal responsibility of your life. Let's get one thing clear here. Personal responsibility does not mean that you are to blame for the abuse which happened. It's more about acknowledging that you are responsible for your healing and moving forward with life. It is the acceptance that the abuse happened, but you're not powerless in creating the life you deserve. You will know you are healing when you fully accept the situation and understand that you are fully responsible for all aspects of your life. For instance, if you want something in your life, you will be fully responsible in making it happen. It's more about recognizing your wants and needs and taking the small steps to make them happen. It's also about recognizing that you are not responsible for other people's actions and behaviors, but rather on your own. The sixth sign is if you find that you're not constantly thinking about them. Having lingering thoughts about our exes is a common experience we have after leaving a relationship. We may even experience the urge and the cravings to go back to them as we think about the good aspects of the relationship. You may find yourself constantly stalking them on social media, checking your phone to see if they've called, or just living your life around the things which reminds you of them. You will know you're healing when you've got to the point that you do less of this and instead not even care about what they are up to. They become invisible in your life. You start minding your own business in life instead of obsessively thinking about them, their new supply, or the fact that they look happy. The last sign is when you start feeling more and more energetic. A narcissistic relationship is so draining and depleting as you keep giving and giving till your well runs dry. It is an experience which drains you physically, mentally, and emotionally as you find yourself doing everything from the physical chores to catering to the emotional needs with no reciprocation. You can never relax, and it's like a full-time job with no pay. As they say, narcissists are emotional vampires who suck and leech on your mind, body, and soul. You will know you are healing when you start feeling unburdened, less fatigued, energetic, and productive in your day-to-day life. Recovering from narcissistic abuse is a challenging and a painful experience, but healing is possible and worth the effort. It may take weeks, months, or even years, but all this depends on the level of support, the effort and commitment you are willing to put in your healing journey. If you feel better today than you were feeling yesterday, it means that you are making progress in your healing journey. It doesn't matter if it's a small improvement, but all in all, as long as you are moving forward towards the life you deserve. In the end, be gentle with yourself and be more compassionate with yourself, and know that you've been through a hard time and If there's someone who deserves better, it's always you. Healing is a marathon and we all set our own pace. That's it from me today. Thank you.